Hello, welcome to math. We're going to be doing pages 73 and 74. So notice the first problem on 73 looks like this. We're multiplying big numbers still. We're estimating it, and then we're multiplying the number to find out if we got the right answer. You estimate first to see like what's called the ballpark figure. Like, I know it's going to be about that number, and then you do the full-on math to see what it is exactly. And then you check that answer with your estimate and you see if you got it right. Because if it's close to your estimate, you know you got it right. So that's why you do estimates first, to see about what the answer is going to be. So the first one is 2,475 times 8. I don't want to do that one for you, so I'm going to do one that looks a lot like it, 3,745 times 8. Okay, so we're going to estimate first to see about, one of these guys, about what's the right answer. Well, 3,745, is that closer to 3,000 or 4,000 if we're going to round it? Well, notice how the 3,000, that's in the 1,000 spot, 7's in the 100 spot, it rounds up. It's closer to 4,000. So let's just round that up to 4,000. What's 4,000 times 8? Well, 4 times 8, I don't look at, when I do these problems, I think, yeah, it's too many numbers. Get rid of those zeros. What's 4 times 8? Check your table if you're not sure, your multiplication table. Hopefully by now you're getting faster at this too, though. You can do it in your head, hopefully. But if you can't, just keep practicing. 4 times 8 is 32. But we're talking about 4,000 times 8, so it's 32,000. So if I cover up 3 zeros, and I say, oh, 4 times 8, I know that, 32. And I say, oh, 3 zeros there, I need to write them over here too. Because 4,000 times 8 is 32,000. So the answer is going to be about 32,000. This is really similar to what we did yesterday. They kind of try to make it extra hard for you, and I don't even know if you need to do this, honestly. I think that's kind of like too much, but they want you to say, well, okay, what if we wanted to get, what if we want to do something different and say, what about 3,500? Because 5s are kind of easier numbers to work with. So they're like, I want to get even closer. So sometimes people like to round to 5s, even if it's not exactly what you'd officially round to. But let's find out what that is, and we'll know. Maybe it'll be even closer. So, I guess this is an actual answer here too. So, well, we already figured out 3,000. Oh, no, we didn't actually. Okay, so 3,000 times 8, what's that? Well, 3 times 8 is 24, right? So 24,000. 3,000 times 8 is 24,000. But then we've got to add the 500 times 8. What's that? Well, there are different ways you could do this. One way is I could say, well, what's 1,000 times 8? And I know it's going to be half of that. So 1,000 times 8 is 8,000. So half of that's 4,000. That's one way you could do it. It's like, well, I know what 1,000 times 8 is 8,000, but 500 is half of 1,000. So it's half of that answer. So it's 4,000. Another way I could do it is, if I was going to say 500 times 8, it's like, well, what's 5 times 8? It's 40. And then add the 2 zeros after it. So 40, and then add the 2 zeros, because we're talking about 500 times 8 is 4,000. Over here, 4,000, which is also known as 4,000, AKA. So 24,000 plus 4,000, add 4,000, you get 28,000. So it's going to be somewhere around there, 28,000 or 32,000. So we know the answer is going to be somewhere around there. And if you played Multiplication Madness yesterday, which hopefully all of you did, this should seem like review to you. Okay, and then they want you to figure it out in these 2 different ways. And the first way is supposed to help you understand it. So we're supposed to do it both ways. So one way is like this. 3,745 times 8. And the first way, which is a totally fine way, is they say, okay, first write down the ones. Well, 8 times 5 equals, what does it equal? It equals 40. So you write 40 right here. And then 8 times 4 equals 32. So you do 320 because it's 8 times 4, 10. So it's 32 tens. And then they want you to do this one, 700s times 8. Okay, so 8 times 7 is 56, but it's going to be 56 hundreds. And then the last one is 3000s times 8. Well, that's going to be, 8 times 3 is 24, but we're talking about 24 thousands. And this should really be like this. 24,000. And you just add them up. 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 plus 2 is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. And 2 is 9. And you count from the right to left where to put the comma. 1, 2, 3, and then the comma goes right there. 29,960, which is pretty close, pretty close. So we know we got it right. So that is the way they have you do it the first time. And then what they want you to do there is just to be thinking about, what does this mean? Oh yeah, 8 times 5 is 41s. 8 times 4, it's 32 tens. 8 times 7, 8 times 7 hundreds is 56 hundreds. And then 3 times 8, 8 times 3 is 24, because that's in the thousand spot. 8 times 3 thousands, 24 thousandths. So that's the way they do it. And honestly, they do that because they think it will make more sense to you. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. Because honestly, the other way to do it is what you're usually going to be doing. So if that seemed a little weird, just know that it is kind of weird. And you don't really have to do it that way, but they want you to think about it. But then in the next way, below that, they have you do the problem again, but the quicker way, which is what we've been doing. Okay, let's try that the quicker way. So remember doing my problem slightly different because I'm doing a 3 instead of a 2 there. 3,745 times 8. Okay, so have a spot for your ones, have a spot for your tens, spot for your hundreds, spot for your thousands, spot for your 10,000s. Make sure you do this before. They kind of weirded me out because they did that different way there, so I didn't do it, but I always do this, especially right now when you're in the 4th grade. Please give yourself a little avenue to write down the number. Okay. 8 times 5 is, we just talked about it here, 40. So rather than just writing 40 like here, the faster way is you write the 0 there, and you put the 4 up here in the attic. You like hide it in the attic. Like you have a bunch of money, you're like, oh, I need to hide my money up there. So 40. 4, notice how 4 is in the 10 spot? 40, same thing. Now we move on to the tens. 8 times 4 tens. What do we get? How many tens is that? What's 8 times 4? 32. But don't forget about the 4. So you're adding the 4. 32 plus 4 is 36. And remember, I can't just cram 36 in there. That'd be weird. You can't do that. But you can write a 6 there and a 3 up here. 36, like that, 36. So you have 8. Anyway, you have 6 tens and 3 hundreds. And now we're going to go to the next one. 8 times 7 hundreds. Well, what's 8 times 7? 56. But don't forget about the 3 in the attic. You got to add that. So 59. 5 goes up here. 59. You can't squeeze 59 in there. That'd be too weird. You have to go 59 like that. And now 8 times 3. We're going multiplying the 8 by the thousands. Notice how we multiply the 8 by the ones, the tens, the hundreds, now the thousands. What's 8 times 3? How many thousands do we have? Got 24 thousands. And don't forget about the 5. 24 plus 5 is 29. And there's really no other number, so the 2 just goes right on down. Just goes, and we count over 3. 1, 2, 3, comma. So this is really the way we're going to be doing it. This way they wanted you to do it just to be thinking about how the numbers work. But If this makes more sense to you, that's a totally fine way to do it too. They're both good. This way is just faster. Okay, so you're gonna be doing in your book, page 73, number 1. You can skip 2, work on 3. They say, is the product of this number times that closer to that or that? Well, just round it. What's 84,984? Is that closer to 80,000 or 90,000? And then if you've got, let's say if you got 80,000, what's 80,000 times 5? Well, what's 8 times 5? And then 40, 8 times 5 is 40. And then you uncover all the zeros. So it's the same thing as before, just the numbers are a little bit bigger. 8,000 times 5 is 40,000, but 80,000 times 5 is going to be, and here, I'll just show you something right here. If I decide I'm going to round that to 80,000, and which I would, because check it out. It's a 4 next door. So I knock on the door and it's like, oh, it's lower. So it's closer to 80,000. So if I round that to 80,000 like this, and I want to multiply that by 5, here's a good way to do it. If you see a whole bunch of zeros like that, just cover them up until it makes sense and it's easy like that. When you see a bunch of zeros, it's like, oh, cool, I can just do this in my head. Cover up all the zeros. You say, oh, 8 times 5 is 40. And then uncover the zeros and write all the zeros down over here, because just 8 times 5 is 40, but you're talking about 80,000. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros to add. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go back in and you put the comma in the right place. So you start on the side, on the right, and you scoot over 3 spots. 1, 2, 3, and you add the comma. And there you go. Okay, I just gave you the answer, but that's how you do it. That's a good way to do it. If 80,000 times 5 seems too abstract, write it down, cover up all the zeros. 8 times 5 is 40, know that. And then reveal the zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, and write those zeros on this side. And then it'll work out. For this one, you need to estimate it and find out which one is right. And also, I'd look at this. You know what digits it's going to end in, because 6 times 3 for the ones. You should know by that what's going to be in the 1 spot. What's 6 times 3? Well, then the second part of that number is going to be in the 1 spot. You can do this one. Again, estimate. That looks to me close, like it's 7,000 times 6, and 5,000 times 8, or 6,000 times 9. And if it's 6,000 times 9, well, what's 6 times 9? And then what about 6,000 times 9? Just what we've been doing. And then you can do these too. They're just like what we've been doing. That's a bigger number, but I think you can do it. So that's what we're doing today. Number 1, skip 2. So 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can skip 7 too. All right, you can do it, guys.